Ox Nation, welcome back. It's Healthy, Happy, Harder to Kill. Today we're talking about healthy. More importantly, what are you putting in your mouth? When are you putting it in your mouth? How are you putting it in your mouth? And definitely not who are you putting it in your mouth? Intermittent fasting, let's talk about it. So intermittent fasting is defined as a 24-hour period without food. So when most people are talking about intermittent fasting, they're generally talking about time-restricted eating. So time-restricted eating is a window of time, right? So it's like you'll fast 12 to 16 hours and you'll eat generally an 8 to 12-hour window. So let's talk about the science behind it before I give my thoughts and my experiences with it. So in rats and mice is where all the initial studies started. And what's fascinating about these studies, to me anyway, is that they didn't change the quantity of food, so the amount of food that the mice were getting, and they didn't change the type of food. So the same diet, same amount of food. All they did was fast one group and then let another group graze all day, which is generally what most people do, just grazing all day because we've been told eat frequently, often, all that stuff. So what did they find? So they found in the fasted mice and rats that they had an increased weight loss. They had an improved cardiovascular health. They had neuroprotective effects. They had decreased cancer risks, and they had an increased lifespan, right? So if we could take these results, I mean, the results that everybody wants, and we can replicate them in humans just by eating at a different time, then everybody in the world should be intermittent fasting, right? It's clear from that research. So what have we found in humans? There haven't been any long-term studies yet. So I mean, it's definitely something that people are studying hard now. But in the short-term studies, they found some effects. They found visceral body fat loss, the gut, the things that we want, the places we all want to lose weight. They found a body fat loss compared to a control group. They found decreased blood pressure, decreased heart rate, decreased inflammation, increased energy, increased cognitive function, and same as in the rats and mice, something that is called autophagy, which is basically spring cleaning of your cells. So all them results in rats and mice, they're starting to find the same results in humans, right? So I'm not a scientist. I'm not going to get into it. I'm not a physician. I'm not going to get into whether these results are perfect, whether these studies are perfect. That's for you to do some research on your own if you want to get into that. But if this is the case, then it's pretty fascinating. It's pretty interesting. So let me talk about my experience and why I'm fascinated with intermittent fasting, right? So for most people, we want to get into a mode where we're burning fat and building muscle, right? That's where I want to be, right? So what I've found is a term metabolic flexibility, right? Where you can constantly be in fat burning mode. So you're using fat and using ketones and using all that stored fat as energy throughout the day versus a storing mode, right? So you're eating carbs and you're using glucose for all your energy and you just keep your fat stores, right? So I want to be in that fat burning mode, and I'm sure you do too. So how did I use intermittent fasting? During OX 100, which started in April this year, we got to a phase where we went into intermittent fasting. And since May, about 7 months, April, May time, I have been doing it every single day. And it was one thing that stayed consistent. I kept it, and I dropped off a lot of things, which you generally do when you change your diet. But the one thing I kept was intermittent fasting because I could feel the effects. And to me, it's pretty simple. Right? So since then, breakfast, the most important meal of the day, just eat at a different time, was 12 p.m. So I break my fast at noon every single day, and I generally stop eating around or before 8 p.m. So I'm following that 16-8 fasting feeding window, right? And that works for me. Now, you might be thinking, okay, well, that's a long time to wait. Yeah, I get up at 4:30, 5 o'clock every morning. So I'm not getting up at 11, waiting an hour, and then eating breakfast, right? I get up at 4 and 5 o'clock in the morning, and I don't eat anything until 12. And the fascinating thing about this is that I just don't get hungry, right? I've trained my body now to understand when I'm eating. And it's not that, oh, by 11 o'clock I'm starving. I don't get that starving feeling. And you all know what I'm talking about. That feeling, you have breakfast, your general like healthy breakfast, which was bagels, muffins, cereals, just sugar for breakfast, and eat it at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. By 10 o'clock, you're reaching for something else, right? You need another muffin, you need another bagel, you need something else, you need a donut that somebody brought in. You need one of them things because you physically feel like you're starving. You eat one of them donuts that Keith brought in, and by 12 o'clock, you're starving again. You need your sandwich, you need your carbs. You just feel like you're running on this sugar thing. I don't feel that anymore, right? I have a constant supply of energy, which is fascinating to me, right? I don't snack, and I have to remind myself to eat. I work out 2 o'clock every day. If I don't remind myself to eat, sometimes I'm rushing to eat something before I work out. Then I work out. When I finish, I'm not even starving after 2 hours of working out every day. I'm not dying for dinner. I have to remind myself when I get home, okay, gotta eat something before you go to bed. Fascinating to me, right? That I don't have them hunger pains, them hunger cravings anymore. So I have a constant supply of energy throughout the day. It's awesome. Next, I feel more focused, right? So I don't know if that is just because I'm not constantly starving and constantly having the tummy rumbling like, oh, I gotta eat, I gotta eat, I gotta eat, or that I'm eating 5, 6 times a day, so it just ruins my focus for everything. It could be one, it could be the other, but either way, feel more energy, feel more focused, don't feel starving. They're the 3 things that it's done for my life that I think on their own are worth it, right? So, is that to say, if you just have a standard diet and you reduce your calories and you have sufficient protein, that intermittent fasting is better? I don't think the research is there yet. I don't think anybody's recommending that. The only thing I can tell you is my experience, right? I'm not a physician. I'm not telling that you should follow this diet. I'm telling you what it's done for my life. And if you think that it might work for you, that you should try it. I feel like I'm constantly burning fat. I feel like my waistline has gone in. I've got the best 6-pack that I've had in a long time, and I've had it for 7 months, whereas I usually fluctuate based on what diet I've got. So for me, it's working, right? So if you want to do it, then I recommend giving it a try, seeing if you get the results, but always ask a doctor or whatever before you start something like this. So any questions, hit me up. I've loved intermittent fasting. Well, time restricted feeding, time restricted eating, but we all know it as intermittent fasting. So give it a try. 12, 16, 8, whatever works for you. But the best diet is the one that works for you. Healthy, happy, harder to kill. Go get it.